This disinformation board that Biden had put
at DHS, yeah,
which is the Ministry of Truth. Well, it lasted as long as CNN Plus lasted. So the disinformation board is done. But there was an interesting. And by the way, it's really dystopian and really awful. There should be no disinformation board, that the government's deciding what's disinformation and what's not.
I agree.
But in this story, New York Times, the Department of Homeland Security announced on Wednesday that it was suspending the work of an internal advisory board intended to combat disinformation after what the department described as a deliberate disinformation campaign. The creation of the panel, called the Disinformation Governance Board, set off a firestorm of criticism when it was announced, blah, 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 blah. Now let's move to just, it's not The Onion. You just can't make it up. The department secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas, has asked a bipartisan pair of former officials to review the issue of fighting disinformation. Michael Chertoff, who served as the department's secretary under President Bush,
right,
and some guy who worked under Clinton.
He's like an uber like neoconservative war hawk guy.
Yes, the co-author of the Patriot Act,
right?
Help torture.
Yeah. So he wants to shit all over the Fourth Amendment and in any way he can.
Yeah. So it's just a couple big best hits here.
Yeah.
Michael Chertoff. That Nation article is not going to click. All right. Chertoff and the Patriot Act. This is from Forbes. Author of the Patriot Act. Government backdoors into iPhones are unnecessary. Michael Chertoff, co-author of the Patriot Act, a set of laws that provided the U.S. government with broad surveillance powers in the wake of 9/11, is unashamedly proud of what he built. Speaking to Forbes ahead of the June 1st expiration of 3 sections of the act, including Section 215, that's currently the focus of much scrutiny and the subject of much opposition from human rights activists. Chertoff claims the Act's provisions for the collection of communications data have helped protect Americans from the manifold threats to national security. He cites the successful shutdown of an August 2006 plot to blow up planes traveling from the UK to the US. Yep. So you got one example and a whole lot of examples of it literally being horrendous and destructive.
Exactly.
He's also joined the board of BAE Systems. Chairman of the board, Honorable Michael Chertoff, is joining the U.S.-based subsidiary of BAE Systems. BAE Systems, for those of you that don't know, was forced to pay $400 million in criminal penalties. This is from the Department of Justice. BAE Systems pled guilty today in the U.S. District of Columbia to conspiring to defraud the United States by impairing and impeding its lawful functions, to make false statements about its Foreign Corrupt Practices Act compliance program, and to violate the Arms Export Control Act and international traffic arms. So they were illegally trafficking, which is shocking. There's plenty of people doing that.
It's so on brand for anybody associated with the Bush administration, though.
Right. And then lastly, the Chertoff, when called out in 2008, encouraged people not to jump ship of the Iraq war. So this is Chertoff encourages audience to continue support for the Iraq war. Quote, recognize that Churchill's skepticism against the global optimism driven by wishful thinking was a very courageous step. Oh boy. Simply put, this is how ideological fanatics view the world, whether it's Hitler or Stalin, bin Laden or President Ahmadinejad of Iran. For every fanatic, weakness is provocation, and that's why we have to remain strong. So this is the guy, after getting rid of the disinformation, whatever, the Ministry of Truth, they want him to do a review of disinformation. Your thoughts?
It's sheer comedy. It's sheer comedy. Like, how is this even happening? So many parts of the Patriot Act, from the NSA down, were basically a destruction of the Fourth Amendment. And this is just a continuation of that. I just don't understand how you have both parties now coming to this place. I flash back to like 2004, and I remember the Democratic Party being like, no, this stuff isn't okay, even though they all voted for the Patriot Act. And they were like, no, we're going to overturn that. But it's just been perpetual lip service when both parties actually fundamentally embrace, the security state to the point where it destroys the Fourth Amendment and oftentimes also destroys the First Amendment. So, the fact that they would even put something about the Ministry of Truth at DHS to begin with. Why is it at DHS, like Department of Homeland Security? I mean, this is also, for folks that don't know, that was created by the Bush administration as well. We didn't used to have a DHS. That was part of the security apparatus that became into fruition after 9/11, right? So these were all the responses. But honestly, 9/11 in many ways was used as, in my opinion, was used as an excuse to just expand the security state. I think that they wanted to do that anyway. So just my 2 cents. But I just think it's absolutely ridiculous that they're putting like this guy in charge of doing what now?
Reviewing disinformation in America.
It's like, it's comical. I mean, it's just sheer comedy. Wow. Yeah.
Yep. So that's what you have. You got the Democratic Party basically pushing for the anti-choice candidate while the Supreme Court's about to gut abortion rights. Then you have Marjorie Taylor Greene crying, pity the white supremacists, and Biden administration appointing a Bush war criminal to do a thorough review on disinformation. Yeah, that's what we got. The United Corporations of America.
Scary. It's all scary. All of these things would have been considered incredibly extreme positions even 20 years ago. It's wild that this stuff has been so normalized in 2022 that.
Absolutely.
How else do you put this? It's been normalized. It's, and I remember complaining about this stuff, in 2004 and having people like liberals say to me, no, we got to protect ourselves. It's security is important. I'm like, you're really willing to give up your First and Fourth Amendment rights in pursuit of what? Stopping another 9/11 when this possibly wouldn't even do that? Like, there's no guarantee that that's going to happen. But I'll tell you what will happen. They'll use the FISA courts to attack protesters, journalists, anybody that criticizes anything they don't like. You go down the list, right? And that's exactly what's happened.
Also, if Biden wants to continue looking into disinformation, he could start with his lies during the campaign on civil rights.
Exactly.
That he apparently met with Nelson Mandela after Mandela was released from prison. No such thing ever happened. He never even went to South Africa.
Right.
And he was marching for civil rights, even though in his book he said he never did anything. I wish Bernie had.
No, he meant he was busy having lunch at the counter with the segregationist.
Oh, yes, Strom Thurmond. So, yeah, Biden should start with a thorough review of disinformation he put out there. But I digress. Thanks for watching. And make sure to tune in to Status Coup's daily live stream Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time and Fridays at 4 o'clock Eastern Time.